So, got something new that I did not realize until recently. I actually realized it a few days, or I found out about it a few days ago. I've been doing it since then. I thought I'd post it. This is my phone, the one I normally take videos with. But since that phone, which is a piece of junk, wouldn't do this, I have to use this one to demonstrate, which means I have to take video with that phone. So this thing probably looks like I'm taking video with a tater tot at the moment, and that's because I basically am. Some old LG piece of shit track phone thing. So this is a standard Android phone. It's a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. And it's just a regular Android 7 phone. This is an OTG adapter, lets you plug regular USB things into your phone. I used to use it for a keyboard and mouse with my old phone because the digitizer was broken and the only way to control it was with a keyboard. This cover is annoying, but whatever. So I'm going to plug this OTG adapter into the USB port on this phone. Stay awake, phone. I'm going to bring the brightness on the phone up. Maybe, actually, if I turn these lights off. I mean, I guess that's just going to make the, that's going to make it harder to see the object here. So I'm going to leave the lights on and turn the brightness up on the phone. Alright, so we got our standard Android phone, OTG adapter plugged into it. This is the USB ASP, I think it's called. It's an AVR programmer. Actually, it has an Atmel chip on it. I don't like that little speck of something I did. Anyway, I'm going to try not to get too distracted. This is a AVR microcontroller programmer that works over USB. I'm going to plug that into my Android phone through the OTG adapter. And this program pops up. It is called Z-Flasher AVR, I think, is the name of it. I'll look in a minute, but... And then I'm going to take this end, which is the normal AVR programmer. I'm going to plug it into one of my boards here. And... so I hit fuses. And you can read and write the fuse settings here and the lock bits. This chip is already written in that respect, so I'm not going to actually change anything. Over here to main, I'm going to pick a file, which is the firmware for this board, which is that hex file, which is saved in the storage on my phone. I copied it in here off the PC, off the computer. Action is right, memory is flash, and I hit go. And we see my board lights up because traffic is happening. I got an extra red light here. I got a progress bar. We're verifying. And I have now written the firmware to my board using my Android phone. I'm not 100% sure what this is going to be useful for, other than it's kind of cool because I can program my boards over here without having to go to the computer now. And if I have to upgrade the firmware on something out of the field, I'll be able to do that with my phone and this thing. The problem scenario I'm still trying to decide how best to deal with is if I have customers with these boards out there and they need firmware updates, how do I get it so they can update their firmware? And this seems like a partial solution, except they still need this gizmo, so I would have to package this and send it to them with the new firmware, I guess. Maybe make my own version of this with an on-the-go plug on it. Who knows? I haven't decided yet. This thing doesn't look that complicated, actually, so there's probably a way to make this work. I don't know what that way is, but we'll figure it out. In any case, the name of the program again is Z-Flasher. And make sure you hit Z-Flasher AVR right there. That little chip icon there. And it just reads and writes hex files. They're standard, actually. The hex files that are on here came out of the IDE on my computer. And we're just copied over USB into the storage on the phone. So, cool. That's how we are now going to be writing the firmware to most of my boards. I also managed to, it also can read and write the EEPROM directly. So, like the firmware on this stores a lot of settings in the EEPROM, and I was not quite sure how to handle, like, having it reset to defaults, because my method on the Dave board, wherever that is, My method on those was there's actually a routine in the firmware that checks to make sure that the configuration data is valid, and if it's not, it puts default values in there. The problem with that, of course, is that the default values are in the code and take up space in the code, which on Dave's board, which is Omega 328, I chose that chip just for the number of I/O pins that it had. I really didn't need the amount of memory that it has. So that one has a ton of extra memory, so it's no problem to store the default configuration data in the code. This, being a tiny 84, turned into a nightmare as far as memory and program capacity goes. So I couldn't really put defaults in this. So I was worried about how to reset them to defaults or how to set them to defaults when I first create them. I was doing it manually, but somehow it didn't even occur to me that this thing can read and write the EEPROM too. So I've just stored. I set all the defaults manually. Used the read function on this to save the EEPROM to a hex file, and that's on my phone now too. So when I write the new boards, I write the default EEPROM configuration right then and there. What to do if that data gets corrupted out in the field somewhere? That's a valid question. But there's like 4, 8, 9, 10, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16, 20, 24. There's like 30 settings, maybe 35, 30 or 35 settings. It's really not that big a deal to go back through them all and change them all back to valid values. Especially since in most implementations something won't be used. Not every target device is going to use the coin output and both ticket emulators. Of course, some will, and you'll have 35 things to reconfigure. But the other part of it is hopefully we're not going to be having a lot of corruption happening. Anyway, I was having some corruption the other day because the brownout detector was not enabled, and the EEPROM was getting corrupted at power down. But I chased that problem down. I haven't seen any corruption since. I'm not expecting a lot of corruption, so I don't really feel like that's going to be a real-world problem. We'll see. But so far, so good. Write the flash and EEPROM off hex files off my phone and every new board. That means I can sit right here and just crank out boards and not have to go running back and forth to the computer to program them and not have to truck them all over when I'm done. Life is good. I like that feature. Glad I discovered that. Have a good day.